Good morning on this Easter Saturday. I've just come out here for a morning walk and just been reminded last night of the sham trial, the drama of the courtroom in last night's Good Friday service, where we were presented with the trial of Christ. Today, of course, is when the body of Jesus is laid in the tomb, and we mourn his death, confused about what might happen. Why has this happened? And it's been quite remarkable that the Hinchinbrook group chose to feature the trial of Jesus last night. Back in January, I'd been given a book by the former Archbishop of Canterbury, Rowan Williams, called The Trial of Christ, and I've been meditating on it for the last several months with regards to Mark's version, where Jesus has turned to in that mock court and asked, "Are you the Christ? Who exactly do you say you are?" And of course, people have been hauled in to fabricate and to try and put a case against Jesus, but none of them kind of held or stuck true. And finally, the lens, the view turns on Jesus himself. And what I just found fascinating in this moment is that this is when Jesus chooses to break his silence, not just in that courtroom, but from within the whole Gospel of Mark, to truly reveal his identity. And his reply is quite shocking to the courtroom. He said, "I am, full stop, and you will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds." In that moment, Jesus, when he'd been stripped back from everything, there was nothing that anyone could more project upon him as being a Messiah in any form of greatness or ideas that they'd had about what the Messiah should do to beat over the Romans, to take over power, what we think is power in our mind's eye. Jesus is standing there stripped of any thoughts of that. In fact, the courtroom actually empties, like pouring out a cup, any notion that we might have had of what this Messiah could be. And I think this is why Jesus waited until this trial moment to reveal in his own words and in his own time and in his own way that he is the Son of God, the I am, the great I am. And up until then, I had wondered, he silenced the demoniac from speaking out his true identity. When he was healed, he would tell people when he healed other people, he would tell them, don't reveal who I am, don't say who it was who healed you. And I wonder whether that is because he didn't trust the vocabulary and the words of others to truly reveal his identity, given all our aspirations and ideas of what greatness and a Messiah should look like. And yet we see in this trial moment that this is when Jesus decided to reveal who he is. And I love this because it empties any idea that we have of what greatness is about. And as we think about and as Jesus references the Old Testament prophets about the God coming, the Son of Man coming on the clouds, we're begged to ask about the transcendence of God, the magnificence of God. And yet the magnificence of God is revealed in the place of pain, in the place of injustice, the place when he's stripped of any notion of what we would call power to be. And you say, "Tim, why is this relevant?" Well, it's relevant, I feel, for us today because Christ revealed himself in the middle of injustice and pain. He chose to not run away from that, but he faced it and showed us who he was in that moment, who he truly was. Mark's Gospel reveals to us that, in the words of Rowan Williams, that the reality of God is not the promise of safety, the possibility of escape from the world, but there's only the recognition here and now of God's glory in the freedom that appears when the insane violence of the world meets the immovable resistance of the I am. Even when the world hurls everything at you that it can, even as at Jesus at his trial, God is God, and there's nothing that can be taken away from that. And I think so often we and I can try and kind of really project upon God the fact that he is our rescuer, he's our safety, and all this. But the cross shows us that Jesus faced that trueness of pain. And how often do we find those moments where we feel abandoned, exposed, trodden upon, cast out, sidelined, locked out of things, when we feel that we've been unjustly misunderstood or treated. And so often we look for a change of circumstances, but for Jesus there was no change of circumstance. He was there facing the sheerness of the situation, and he was God. And in that courtroom, the glory of God shone out in that place. And I want to say, let God shine out in the place of your pain, in the place of our confusion, in the place of our concern. Let's just let God be who he is in these moments without trying to manipulate them or trying to make them something better than they really are. It is what it is, and God is with us in these moments. So as we just stand at this graveside today, like with the early disciples, wondering what's happening, why is this all about? Let's remember that God is God. Let's know him in his transcendence. Let's know him for his true identity and majesty. He is the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. And even if he doesn't change our circumstances, like Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego said in Daniel, when they were about to be hurled into the furnace if they didn't bow to their king, bow down to the king Nebuchadnezzar, they'd said, well, look, throw us in, our God will save us. But even if he doesn't, we are still not going to bow to you. We will not bow to your gods. We will believe and trust in our God, who is God. And whether there's anything in it for us or not, we worship the living God. So thank you for sharing in this couple of moments together, and have a great day, and look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning for the next part of the episode on Easter morning at 10 o'clock online for our great family service. Have an awesome day, guys. Thank you.